In Louisville, Kentucky, and southern Indiana, roofs last about 15 years. I want to show you how to tell whether your roof is going to last longer than 15 years or if it's going to need to be replaced sooner than 15 years using the following 4 factors. The first being materials used. Next, being weather conditions, maintenance and vents, and installation quality. So materials used, there's all sorts of different roofing materials on the market, and there's a huge range between low quality and very, very high-end designer. And that has a huge impact on how long it's going to last, because the cheaper quality materials are not going to last nearly as long as the higher quality materials. So on the low end, we have 3-tab shingles. These are not going to last nearly as long. These are going to last probably actually the shortest amount of time out of any other product. They're just a lot thinner. They're a lot lighter. They're a lot more susceptible to wind and hail damage, to fallen tree branches, all sorts of things. On the high end, we have designer shingles. Designer shingles are super high quality. They're super thick. A lot of them are class 3 and class 4 impact resistant, which means they can hold up to a lot more damage. And then we have everything in between, which is on average what most people are gonna have. Now, there's a lot of products in there, but most people are gonna have your traditional dimensional. We're just gonna abbreviate that, say traditional dimensional shingle, or a high to premium grade. That is what is on the majority of homes. Whether you're on the low end or you're on the high end, just consider that is going to be a big factor. Next, we have weather conditions. In Louisville, Kentucky, and southern Indiana, we get a lot of big wind events. So we get really, really high winds. And we get the occasional hailstorms. Now, obviously, no matter how well a manufacturer makes a shingle, if you get really, really high winds, if you get tornadoes, if you get big hailstorms, it's going to damage the shingle. And the more storms that come through an area, the more the shingles get hit, that is really going to affect the lifespan, because you could have one storm that blows through. Maybe it doesn't necessarily damage the roofing system right then and there, but it loosens something or it tweaks something a little bit. Then you have another storm. That next storm is what causes the damage. It's what blows some shingles off. Or it's a big hailstorm. You have a bunch of impact marks. So the weather conditions in an area are going to have a big impact on how long your roof is going to last, because if you're in an area that doesn't get very many storms, then those shingles and those roofing materials are going to last a lot longer than if you're in an area that gets constant storms, because that constant weather is going to break down the material a lot quicker. Next, we have maintenance and ventilation. So let's break these up into 2 because they're both really important. First, we have maintenance. This is a very, very, very important aspect to a roofing system that is skipped over almost all the time. Almost nobody does any sort of maintenance to their roof at all. And there's so many things that you can do maintenance-wise that will really prolong the lifespan of your roofing system. So first, we have debris. If you have a bunch of trees around your house, it's very likely that in the fall, a bunch of debris, leaves, sticks, twigs, things like that are falling onto your roof. And as they fall onto your roof, if they stay there, they collect over time. And what that's going to do is that's going to collect water. Your roofing system is made to shed water off and away from your home as quick as possible. And when it's not operating correctly, because there's a bunch of debris in the valleys and all in the gutters that is causing that water to actually stay on your roof, you're going to get leaks. You're going to have water pooling on your shingles, which is going to shorten the lifespan because shingles aren't meant to sit in still water. You're going to have ice, snow. All of these things are going to collect and they're going to work their way up under the shingles where they should be working away. So maintenance is a huge deal, and the more maintenance you can do to your roof, the longer the lifespan will be. Next, we have ventilation. Ventilation is one of the most important aspects of your roofing system because it is how your roof breathes. So it's extremely important that your roof have one type of intake ventilation and one type of exhaust ventilation. It can be any combination. There's all sorts of different types, but it needs to be one of each. And it's a problem when a roof has multiple types of the same kind of ventilation. So if you have two different types of exhaust ventilation on your roof, or if you have two different types of intake, or sometimes I see three different types, you want one type of each so that your roof can breathe correctly. And just to make sure we do this relatively quickly, I'm just going to make it simple here. If this is a roof, your roof should ventilate from the bottom to the top. And that's how you really want everything to work. So the intake really, if possible, should come in from the bottom. That way it can really move that air all the way through the attic and out the top. And then it can just work kind of in a circular motion like that. When you have multiple types, you might only be ventilating the top portion of your attic, and it might just be going in and out the top. And that is going to keep the roof really hot, and it's going to cook those shingles, and they're going to last way less than what they should. And then finally, we have installation quality. The quality of installation on your roof is huge because if materials are installed incorrectly, if materials aren't used that should be used, or vice versa, you're going to run into a lot of issues. And so it's really important that you're working with contractors that are working off of the manufacturer's specifications and that are a preferred contractor of a specific manufacturer. That way they know the specifics of how those products should be installed, and that way you're getting the best quality product possible, because there's so many areas that you can mess up and there's so many areas that can cause leaks that really the quality of installation is huge, and the better quality installation you have, the longer it's going to last. So just to recap all of this, we have an average of about 15 years in Louisville, Kentucky, and southern Indiana. Off of that average, we have four components or four factors that are the main driving points to how long your roof will last. You have materials used. Remember, we have low and high end and everything in between. We have weather condition. If there's a lot of storms, then it's going to last a lot less than somewhere that doesn't have a lot of storms. We have maintenance and ventilation. It is extremely important to maintain your roofing system, keep debris off of your roof, keep your gutters clear. Remember, you want water shedding off and away from your home as fast and as efficiently as possible. And then we have installation quality. You really want the quality of your installation to be top notch so that that roofing system can last as long as it is supposed to.